Hello, welcome to ASNAB demola. Today's lesson we're going to be covering properties of blood vessels. Really important topic, especially in AS, so we're going to get straight into it. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to get started by talking about the typical features of a blood vessel. Now, really important things to know. Lumen. Guys, lumen is like kind of like this hole in the middle where your blood cells are going to pass through, right? That's all you really need to know about that. Now, three main layers when it comes to your blood vessel. And so conveniently named. Cool. You've got tunica intima, media, externa, literally innermost, middle, external. Or the externa can also go by adventitia. Either way in the exam, they'll be fine with it, yeah? So, tunica intima, innermost layer, it does have a lining called endothelium, right? So that endothelium is kind of like a smooth lining, we'll talk about it a bit more, but it just allows your blood to go a bit more easier through that, yeah? And then your tunica media, we're going to talk about what's in that soon, and the tunica external layer. Cool. Tunica just means an enveloping membrane, yeah, or a layer of body tissue. Don't need to know that definition. I just thought it was good to add context. Now, intima. I'm not really concerned with what's in the tunica intima. Know the endothelium for sure, but connective tissue, elastic fibers, what's contained in it. This is why we're going to make our big marks, yeah? The tunica media. So your tunica media contains smooth muscle, elastic fibers, collagen. So really important that you know what's in it, yeah? Smooth muscle contracts, gives a boost to the blood. Elastic fibers, guys, remember this term is so important. Stretch and recoil, yeah? So your elastic fibers, they stretch when the blood's flowing, and then afterwards they recoil, they return back to their normal shape, and that also gives an additional boost to the blood as well. And then your collagen is there to provide structural support. The tunica externa, main one that I want you to remember is collagen. But above all else, remember there's collagen there as a structural protective kind of feature as well. Guys, if you want to get really greedy, you want to really impress the examiner, nerve fibers and vasovasorum. I promise you, if they see vasovasorum, they're going to know, yeah, this is a smart one, yeah? So vasovasorum is to define it, they're like small blood vessels that supply the walls of your arteries and stuff like that. Cool. We're going to get into the types of blood vessels. They are your arteries, veins, and capillaries. We are going to talk about them in a lot more detail coming up soon. Okay, so the first one up is arteries. Now, your arteries are going to carry blood away from the heart under high pressure. Remember that. That's kind of your setup for arteries. Now, was actually really impressed with this diagram, guys. Drop a clap for me, please. But when the arteries, the main things you can see here, narrow lumen. I'm being really intentional with my language, by the way. So we're going to describe the lumen as narrow, yeah? And then what I'm also going to say is it's got a thick tunica media. Yeah. Again, being really intentional with my language so that I can pick up the most marks possible. Thick tunica media. Now, what features do I really want to say when I'm talking about arteries? I want to talk about the smooth endothelium, yeah? So smooth endothelium is going to reduce the friction. Your blood can flow through a lot easier. Happy. What I also want to talk about is that thick tunica media, yeah? We already talked about what's in the tunica media. Smooth muscle, elastic fibers. Cool. So your smooth muscles contract to maintain high pressure, yeah? Muscle, maintain high pressure. Cool. Elastic fibers, they, again, what did we say they do? They stretch and recoil to withstand high pressure. Remember those two. Muscles maintain, elastic fibers withstand. Yeah. Now, collagen. Protection supports. Yeah. If we have such high blood pressure, we're at a bigger risk of damage. Right? So collagen needs to be there. Now lumen as well. Although we complain, high pressure can cause a lot of problems, we want the high pressure, yeah? We want this blood to travel fast. So the narrow lumen is going to create this thing where the blood needs to kind of strain to get through, and that's going to help you to create an even higher pressure. So in terms of your arteries, we are A-okay. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at veins. So your veins return blood to the heart under low pressure. Remember that. Return blood to the heart, low pressure. We're going to talk a lot more about the heart when we get to the cardiac cycle. But when you see this vein, I was less impressed with this diagram, unfortunately, guys. But when you get to the vein, what you really want to point out is it's got a larger lumen. In fact, no, we're going to call it wide. Like I said, I really want to be intentional with the language that we use. So we're going to talk about a wide lumen, and we're going to talk about a thin tunica media. Yeah, those are the things that you can spot straight away. That's going to help you to identify this as a vein. Now, what do veins have? Guys, VV, veins valve. Remember, veins have valves, and that's really important to prevent the backflow of blood. if you think back to when we did about mass transport, you want to go from a high pressure to a low pressure, right? So if there's already low pressure here, you don't want the blood to backflow, and there's a big risk of that. So that's why we have valves. I'd also say important in limbs. Important in limbs. Why is that? Well, it's because if you think about it, if you want to go back to the heart and say that you're at your arms or your legs, you're working against gravity to get back to the heart, right? And because you're working against gravity, these valves are also going to be really important. Don't need to worry too much about that mechanism. Just know that it's relevant. Cool. Large lumen, we can fit more blood in it so that we can return more blood to the heart. And the Finch media, guys, in our body, we don't waste space, yeah? We don't want to waste space. And with a fin tunica media, it means that we don't have smooth muscle elastic fibers. We're not using energy to create that for your veins because they don't need it. So in terms of veins, I'd say we're pretty much done. Okay, so now let's have a chat about capillaries. Now, capillaries, main thing about them is they're really important for exchange of substances. This happen in like systemic capillaries, lung capillaries, whatever. Exchange of substances, hence they must be permeable, yeah, so that your substances can leave the capillaries and enter into your body tissues. Cool. We look at the diagram of a capillary. The main thing that you're going to see here is a very narrow lumen. Again, we're so intentional with the words that we're using. And then we're going to talk about this wall. Cool. Like I said, really the main things I want you to mention when you get a question about capillary. Very narrow lumen so that blood travels slowly. Imagine this, yeah, you're at the lungs. You want to have the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We're going to get into that in topic 2, by the way. But you want to have that exchange, so you need the blood to travel slowly so that there's time for the diffusion to happen of those gases, right? So that's why you get a narrow lumen. Blood has to strain, the blood cells have to strain to get through, like literally. So that kind of helps you to do that. Linked to sickle cell, yeah. Sickle cell, you have these abnormally shaped blood cells, which makes it harder for them to pass through these capillaries, right? Cool. The wall is 1 cell thick. Remember, 1 cell thick, the examiner will love it, yeah? 1 cell thick, you reduce the diffusion distance, which means that you can have a faster rate of diffusion. Again, we're going to talk about that more in topic 2. Now, this one I thought would be nice for you to see. We call this a capillary bed. So it's kind of like a network of capillaries, a capillary bed, or even sometimes they will call it a capillary network, yeah? And really what's going on here is you just got a lot of capillaries in an area, yeah? I mainly wanted to show you the direction of the blood flow. So what we're going to have is that first of all, it's going to be an artery. Then we'll go to the arterial. Then we'll come into the capillaries before going into the venule, before going into the vein, you return it to the heart. Yeah. Just be aware of that order because sometimes they can ask you like a short question on it. So just be aware. Okay, everyone, it's question time. So just 2 questions. Big marks. Don't worry about how many marks are. Just do your best. Think about everything that we covered this lesson. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that, and then we'll get into the answers. Hope you found that okay. We're going to begin with question 1. So, guys, they love asking you to compare arteries and veins. They absolutely love it. So I'm just making sure it's in the right place, yeah. They love asking you about arteries versus veins. And it's all good knowing the features. We talked about these features, yeah. But you also need to relate it to function. When you can do that, you are completely set for a question like this. So we want to talk about wall thickness. We want to talk about that tunica media specifically, lumen and valves. I'd say those are the main ones to cover. You should be able to cover the other ones as you talk about that, yeah? So you'll mention the smooth muscles and the elastic fibers. And then when you say that, main difference between arteries and veins is about the high pressure, low pressure. So definitely always try to relate back to that when you're talking about function as well. Cool. Let's talk about question 2 now. Question 2 with capillaries, literally the main thing I want you to know is about that 1 cell thick thing, yeah? So 1 cell thick, easier diffusion of substances, right? Because you've reduced that diffusion distance, yeah? And that will allow you to have faster rate of diffusion. You get more transfer of oxygen and nutrients. Guys, whenever they talk about this, I always just throw in oxygen and nutrients because this might be a mark, really easy mark to get in it. So just make sure to throw that in. I'm not too concerned about allowing plasma and small molecules to pass through. If you want to flex a bit, say it. But I think it's more relevant to get those first 3 points down for that question 2. Okay, it's A-star tip time. So, guys, I've really tried to emphasize in this lesson about the vocabulary we are using. Guys, lumen is narrow or wide, yeah? Your walls are either thick or thin. Make sure to be using that vocabulary because sometimes, guys, these examiners can be a pain in the backside. Let's put it that way. Now, Be happy with seeing microscopic images of your blood vessels as well. Guys, whenever they throw this at you, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. Guys, it's the same thing that we've seen. Yeah. You can see in that vein, if you look at that reddish color, I'll try and do a bit of a highlight there. See this like reddish color that we just highlighted? Yeah. Guys, that's the lumen. Yeah. In the vein, that's wide, in the artery, it's narrow. Cool. I'm going to highlight this as well. Your tunica media. Guys, thicken the artery. In the vein, you can barely see it, guys. You can barely see it in the vein. I think it might be a tiny bit there. But, guys, remember, we're not reinventing the wheel. You're looking for things that you already know based on the knowledge you have. Cool. Other comparison questions, guys, they love a cheeky comparison question. So make sure that you know it. Yeah. What do we not want to do? I already highlighted it, guys. They love a throw. Endothelium versus epithelium are virtually the same thing, but it's just that your endothelium is what you find in the blood vessel. So guys, don't get thrown out. Really similar terms. They even sound and spell similarly. But endothelium is going to be for your blood vessel. Don't get them twisted. Yeah. I'd also say don't just list features. Whenever they ask you, I'd always throw in the function as well, just because I think it's good practice, and you never know what marks you can pick up by just doing that. Yeah, it might be a small 1 or 2 marks here and there, but guys, I promise you it adds up. And also arteries, arterioles, and even veins and venules, just don't confuse them. They sound really similar again. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know why they do that in biology. They do sound similar. Just don't confuse them up. So, hope this lesson's been really, really informative and good. Please subscribe, like if you found the video useful. Leave questions in the comments. I'm going to do my best to answer them. And I guess that is bye for now. Thank you for listening.